Happy Solar New Year, everyone. It is 2025, so we're starting another year. Good to have you here with us. How was your New Year? Did you do anything fun? I've been on break and I have been loving it. Just chilling and relaxing, eating a lot of good food, too much good food. But you know what? Living a prosperous life. What can I say? Life is good. Life is good. Really fun episode for you today. We had a chance to talk with Nguyen. Mai is a content creator. She has a huge following over at My Healthy Dish on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you get your social media. Something like 2.8 million subscribers on YouTube and over 2 million followers on Instagram. She's built quite a little empire for herself, and she is doing great. And we actually met. She's Bay Area, so we met at a YouTube creators event. Don't ask me how I got invited to YouTube creator events, seeing as I don't really do YouTube. But she's been doing all kinds of different things, so it was actually kind of hard to pin her down to do this interview. But we got her, and we squeezed it in. We had a lunch hour and a little less than an hour, so we got a lot done in about 40 minutes of chatting. So without further ado, let's get into our conversation with Mai. And as usual, thank you all for listening. Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the Infatuasian podcast. This is a show where we aim to celebrate and elevate Asian culture and creators. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We're going to have a great conversation about healthy food. Yeah, we're going to be talking with Nguyen, and she's the creator of My Healthy Dish, a social media empire of millions of followers on Instagram and YouTube. She is now a two-time cookbook author who published My Healthy Dish in 2016. And then just now in the fall of 2024, she published her second cookbook, which is called Healthy My Way. It's available everywhere. Welcome to the show, Mai Nguyen. Hey, how's it going, Mai?
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I rarely do podcasts because I'm so nervous, but you're just so comfortable to talk to.
Plus, we're old friends. We met in person before.
I thought you were going to say we were just old.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
That too.
But we met at a YouTube creator event that you threw. Oh. It was super fun. Everyone there was really nice. And dumpling making was fun.
Yeah, we got to make a recipe from the cookbook, Healthy My Way. And I must say, your dumplings were pretty impressive.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, we were slow and I was a little worried because everyone else had already finished. But yeah, we did pretty well. And I actually thought it was going to be when they sent the invite, I thought it's going to be like the normal 100 people or something like that. But it was an intimate gathering of only about like 20 of us, I think.
Which I prefer. I feel like you really get to know the small group of people, and we sat down and broke bread. We talked and actually got to know each other, where when a group of 100 is just so loud, you're just kind of doing a speed dating round from I need to talk to this person, I need to talk to this person. And when you're hosting something like that, it gets very overwhelming because you want to make sure that every person who comes to the event has their few moments with you. So I'm glad it was 20 people and not 100 people.
Yeah. Are you a natural introvert or extrovert?
I am actually very introverted. I think most social media content creators are, because we're so used to working alone.
Yeah.
And then we have the energy it takes to be an introvert. For some of us, it's not natural, right? Just it is really a light switch that turns on. And there's only so much social battery I have. Yeah. Then I come home and I actually need to decompress.
Absolutely. Yeah, I understand.
Maybe it's also our age that makes us feel that way. Because in my 20s, I was a social butterfly.
That's true, too. Yeah, maybe when we get used to just sitting at home on the couch, we're not used to interacting. But no, it was super fun. And the best part of the night was I got a brand new copy of Healthy My Way, hot off the presses.
Yes. Oh, it's such a crazy moment of my life to do this cookbook, because the first one was definitely a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we all can learn from is forcing something to happen when you're not ready,
Mm.
right? I was just starting social media. I thought, oh, well, the next step was to do a cookbook because that's just what
Mm-hmm.
people do. And I had no idea what I was doing, chose wrong, had no help creating that book. And not to say that I'm not proud of it because it has a representation of where I was in my life at that moment. Right. But both books are very polar opposite to what I learned from that experience to walking into Healthy My Way, where I was hesitant to do it because of my past experience and was actually kind of talked into it from my team. And thankfully they did, because the reason why I was hesitant was because I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think anyone would buy it. And I felt this imposter syndrome. And it was during COVID when we did the book proposal and we pitched it. And here I am like, no publisher's going to get back to us. Like, what? Who am I? And then my literary agent had 12 meetings lined up. And I was like, what? In what world are we?
Wow.
And then when I sat down on the Zoom, because it was COVID, it was, again, like speed dating, but this time they were all courting me, instead of the other way around where I was trying to convince them to buy the cookbook. This one was like, pick us because you're so amazing. We love you so much. So we don't know. Like, tell us why we should pick you. So it was very, very surreal, but also gave me a lot of affirmation during that time that I think I was struggling with confidence. We chose Rodell, which was an imprint of Penguin Random House. And I was just so proud to be part of that, the publishing house. But yeah, that was just such a full circle moment from forcing something when you were starting off, not knowing what we're doing, to learning from all that and coming back so strong with such an amazing experience, publishing the book, writing the book, the team we had together, and also just the media exposure and like going on the shows and like the book signings that I didn't have the first round.
No, I since we met, it was October. Since then, you've been New York City, LA. You went to Turkey. Well, that wasn't part of the book, but you've been all over the place, meeting everyone. So yeah,
I'm tired. I'm very tired. Yeah.
But thank you for coming on the show with us today to talk a little bit about this.
Yeah.
So you focus on healthy food. Now, everyone out there, don't worry. We're not talking about raw carrots and steamed chicken breasts, right? What's your definition of healthy cooking and healthy food?
It definitely changes, in a moment in time, like in your 20s is different than in your 30s because our bodies adjust. And now I'm in my 40s. I'm very, very gentle with my body in my 40s because we're looking at longevity here, We're not looking at aesthetics. Like, I'm not trying to be a size 2, I eat to feel good, right? So, if you asked me in my 20s what healthy was, it was quinoa and, 1,200 calories and eating salads and no carbs and punishing myself if I had a slice of pizza at the gym.
Yeah.
And now, like, if I'm at a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, I'm like, give me that slice of pizza, There's nothing wrong with having that slice, So with the cookbook in mind, and like even like where the progression and the natural just growth of my healthy dish in general, because I've been doing this for 13 years, has definitely changed. Before, again, it was definitely really diet culture that I was really born into. When I grew up, Bridget Jones' Diary, she was considered fat, and it's just like you look at her, and she was a healthy, beautiful woman, and that movie portrayed her as this overweight woman. She was 135 pounds in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm 135 pounds. Like, I would never consider myself fat now. So during that time, when I created my healthy dish, just the pages, the social media pages, I was deep in diet culture with the Jessica Simpson, Fat Mom Hansen, like in my mind, like everyone was just super skinny. Like Paris Hilton was super skinny. Lindsay Lohan, super skinny. So I ate to have an aesthetically looking body that was the cultural norm. So that wasn't healthy, even though my mind thought it was healthy. So now in my 40s, back to your question. Sorry, I ramble like I warned you. Now that I'm in my 40s, I eat because I want to feel good. And what is that? It's really lot like I double down on my veggies. It's like you really want to nourish your body with all these micronutrients, right? And fiber to keep things moving, and protein because I want to build muscle. I don't want to fall and hurt myself and not be able to get up, because we lose muscle as we get older. So, and the carbohydrates, there's nothing wrong with carbohydrates. It's just that because we are definitely not running, a 10K in the morning anymore. I don't need all that energy. I don't need all those. And carbs is just energy.
Yeah.
So yes, I eat less carbs, not because I'm not trying to gain weight, but I don't need it. So my plate actually looks more like lean proteins, doubling in vegetables, and minimal carbs. And that's what really fuels my body in my 40s and has helped me. I don't have more energy and feel good. And am I size 0 or 2 anymore? No. But am I a size 4, 6, depending on where you shop? Sure. And I love who I am and how I look, but it's not why I'm eating this way. It's just I want to wake up and feel good. I want to have energy to walk my dogs and hang out with my teenage daughters. And you see my busy schedule. I'm never home. I need that. I need to feel my lifestyle,
Yeah.
And I need to feel my body and not starve it.
Mm-hmm. All right. We're going to dig into the book in a second. But before we do that, can we jump back a little bit and talk about your journey here to America and the States? So you were actually born in Vietnam.
Yes.
And moved here when you were about 2?
Yes, correct.
I have so much respect for families who I have 2 kids too. I can't imagine taking a 2-year-old, or a toddler with me on these journeys, uprooting everything, going to a country where you don't know the language. What was your family's journey like getting here?
Oh, if we had 10 hours to speak about that, right? Because that's just definitely this huge immigrant story that I think everyone should share. A part of that if they experienced it, because we don't talk about it enough. But yeah, I was 2. My brother was, I think, 4 or 5. My dad was in the army and he fought for the South, and we were no longer safe to stay in Vietnam. So we did not tell anybody we were leaving, and we were. My dad actually drugged me and my brother that night.
Oh man.
Yeah, because we had to sneak away, and we mainly slept. And we were the boat people. We escaped on a boat, landed in the Philippines at a refugee camp, and stayed there for about a year because I got really sick. We were supposed to only be there for 6 months, but I got really sick, and then eventually met up with my uncle and aunt who got to leave 6 months earlier than us, and they went to New York. So we met up with them in New York, and we're there for 2 weeks when my dad realized that it was not it for us. I mean, because imagine coming from a humid, warm country and then going into the dead of winter in New York City. So we reached out to some friends in LA and moved to LA, and thank goodness for, the culture that we have and the support that we have, that, they're willing to take us in and help us acclimate, right? But yeah, we were in LA for a few years until we just had moved to eventually California Bay Area. And this is where we kind of like just have our roots stuck. And I love the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Very resilient family here, had no money, dirt poor, food stamps, you name it, government housing. I may not look like it, but I could hold myself up in a fight. And, but all that grit doesn't go away. I think that's why I'm so successful is that it was like survival.
Yeah.
Especially growing up in the streets of Oakland.
Yeah. Oh man. No, I love those stories, and like you said, this is a story that should be told, but yeah, we just don't always have the time. But maybe one of these days we can sit down and talk more about that journey. That's really cool.
Yeah, I would love to. Actually, I would love to one day write a book, or just like our immigrant story, my immigrant story as the first daughter, the eldest daughter, the pressures that we actually have on ourselves as the eldest daughter.
Yeah. All right, so you get into real estate in the high-flying early 2000s, that's when loans were easy to come by and down payments were zero, and it was high-flying time.
And a lot of fraud going on.
We have all heard about that now, but it was good times for a minute, and you were doing well. You were making money with the designer handbags and getting the dream house that you wanted, but then
lost it.
Around 2008, yeah. What happened there?
Yeah, I was a prime example of the mortgage bubble, right? And I was so deep into it. Our company was bought out by Lehman Brothers. So, and Lehman Brothers was kind of the head,
they were
they're the ones who crashed and burned first, right?
Yeah.
So I was really, really deep into it, and my husband was also in mortgage, and we bought a home with that money that we made. And we made a lot of it during the time. And not realizing as naive as we were, just fresh out of college, what the severity of it and what we were actually doing. Like we thought we were pushing paper and helping people buy homes and making money out of it, and did not realize that there was scams going on, fraud going on. Did not know the severity of it until it was like on the news, and it was a very crazy time. But yeah, he lost his job first, and then I lost my job, and then I got pregnant with the twins.
Good timing.
Yeah. It was perfect timing, actually, because we could not get pregnant because of the stress of the job.
Oh, yeah.
So it was definitely a blessing. But then here I am, a few months pregnant, about to foreclose on our home. And we moved back in with my parents and kind of started all over.
Yeah.
Because in my 30s, did not realize my experience was in mortgage. I had a college education in communications and marketing, but with no experience. So I was just kind of like lost in my 30s, feeling like, what was all that for? Losing my home and going to college and doing all that. And now I have no work experience. No one will hire me, especially a mom with 2 kids. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when the girls were, I think 3, we had a garage sale. And we sold all their baby clothes and baby items, and we were able to buy iPhones with it. Everyone, downloaded all the stuff. Angry Birds was really popular back then. That was how long ago that was. And then Instagram was still a photo sharing app. And I guess I owe my marketing background in school to realize what the app was before anyone, like a lot of people, realized what it was. I'm like, you guys, this is pretty much a billboard. So immediately I borrowed $1,500 from my mom and bought a MacBook and said, I'm going to start a blog, even though I don't even know what blogging is back at the time, but started developing recipes right away. And I was one of the first people to really start a business on Instagram.
Yeah.
And growing my audience very quickly, hit 100,000 within a 6 months, I think,
Wow.
which was really unheard of on Instagram back then.
Yeah.
Everyone had like a few hundred friends. That was kind of it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
wrote an ebook was called My Daily Diet, which was again deep in diet culture of like 1,200 calories and what we could eat.
Mhm.
But what was great about that book was it really got us out of a big hole. Um, and I sold it for $39.95 online. And I was able to move out of my parents' house.
Huh.
My husband was able to quit his job, and we moved to Walnut Creek and got a cute little 2-bedroom, 1 bath apartment in Walnut Creek. And that was the first time we really felt like we were a family unit on our own.
Mm.
No parents telling you how to raise your kids, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and that was kind of like the start of where my healthy dish was, and where it's progressed to now. Cookbook and making the Forbes top 50 list
Yeah.
creator.
Yeah.
So imagine that span of 13 years on to writing an ebook and not knowing what to do to making Forbes this year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, the book is gorgeous. It's made up of lots of recipes that actually I feel like mean more to you, maybe more personal this time around.
Very much. Almost each recipe has a story.
Hmm.
But what I'm most proud of is the cover photo and recipe, and it is chicken pho, right? A very
Yeah.
comforting Vietnamese dish, and I wanted to show the world that not only Vietnamese food is delicious, but it is healthy, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a Vietnamese cookbook, but of course, very very Cali Vietnamese influence
Hmm.
because of where I grew up. Um, when we shot the cover, I told them that like this is the recipe I want on the cover. We shot it 3 times in different ways, and it was very unique to them because typically they don't shoot covers; they just pull from what they shoot during the photo shoot of the recipes. What I heard.
Uh-huh.
So I was very demanding in that. That no, this is the day we're shooting. This is what we're making. And then like, even if you open inside the book, I don't know if you had a chance to make chipino. It's
Oh.
one of my favorite dishes because it really just represents everything of my childhood and growing up here is poor man's chipino.
Yeah.
Because it's seafood chipino was originated in San Francisco.
Right. Right.
It was originally a poor man's fisherman's dish, right? Like the fisherman would walk around like, hey, what scraps do you have?
The leftovers. Yeah.
Leftovers, and then they made a seafood stew out of it, and now it's like become this very expensive dish because seafood and shellfish is expensive. Um, but I took it back to like let's make this more affordable, like
Hmm.
what we would do to make dishes affordable for ourselves.
Hmm.
We were growing up, and I took some of the more expensive pieces out and put more affordable shellfish in there, like clams, and
Hmm.
there's no crab in there, but I have like oyster mushrooms that we slice in to make it look like scallops, and then there's like a hint of Asian there with some lemongrass.
Hmm.
So it's definitely a representation of my Cali Vietnamese roots here, and it's in the Bay Area.
Yeah. No, that's great. My wife's favorite section, you can tell which cookbooks, we have a bunch on the shelf, but you can tell which cookbooks we like the most based on how many Post-its are on it. And your book has a lot of Post-its. And some of the Post-its for my wife that she put in there was the smoothie section. Are smoothies maybe one of the more perfect breakfasts or snacks that you can make in a healthy way?
Oh, it's one of my favorites, especially when the kids were younger,
Yeah.
right? Because there was
Yeah.
a great way to sneak in stuff.
Sneak in the spinach. Yeah.
It was a great way, especially if it was all green. You just put in a cup that wasn't clear,
Yeah.
But for adults, we should not drink smoothies. It's such an easy breakfast, and to where you get in everything you need, like everything that you could possibly need in a smoothie. You want protein? Add some yogurt, Greek yogurt, or I've even done it with cottage cheese before. People do egg whites and peanut butter for some healthy fats, avocados. I mean, I'm not gonna. You could go into the fruits and veggies, but like you could have your carbs, proteins, and fats in one cup. It's still low calorie. It's still very filling.
Yeah.
High in fiber.
Easy to take with you.
On the go. So like, there's no excuse not to eat healthy in the morning. And what I like about having that smoothie in the morning is like, it's making a decision, right? I'm making a decision to be healthy today. And once you start, it's kind of like this domino effect, right? Having that smoothie, I'm like, well, I don't, I feel good. I want to keep this going. I'm not going to have a cheeseburger for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once you start that morning off on the right path, I feel like we continue on that path. But like for me, like once I cheat, I don't cheat a little, I cheat a lot.
Yeah.
It's like then you'll see that like if I'm at Disneyland. If we start at Starbucks with a chai tea latte, I'm like, us downhill from here.
It's downhill from there.
Where's the churros?
Then the beignets and the Dole Whips. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to get a turkey leg in there for some protein, but
Okay, yeah.
We do 25, 30,000 steps, so kind of justify
That's true. Yeah, that's
true. Yeah.
Hey, we have something else in common. So we both have 2 daughters, and I think so. I have a 14 and a 12-year-old. Yours are a little older, or?
Yes, I have twin daughters. They're going to be 16 next month.
Oh, okay. But one thing we have in common is I think you said that they were a little picky when they were growing up.
Yes.
I got a picky eater. What tips do you have for me to help my picky eater eat a little more healthy, other than pizza and chicken tenders? Those are the 2 things she loves.
You definitely need to give me some tips too. I definitely, TikTok has actually really helped with my picky eater. So shockingly. Because she's really been involved in trends. Like she'll watch it and she'll see people eat something and she'll tell me about it. Right. Yeah. I had to put this in the cookbook, creamy tomato soup. But I did fry some shallots to like on top of it to give some Asian notes. And I thought, the fried shallots make the soup actually.
So good. Yeah.
But can you imagine creamy, like tomato soup trending on TikTok? Like, why? But she came to me. She told me it was that she wanted to try it, and like literally, I ran to the store. It's like my daughter wants to try something. Ran to the store, and here's the thing: I don't know about your child, but it's really about texture for her. Right? There's a weird thing with texture, and then foods mixing together. Like everything has to be separate, right? So when I made the soup, I definitely had to make sure it was blended so fine. Thank goodness I have the amazing Vitamix, right? Because if it was any texture that like was not smooth, or if you saw like any green in there, like with it had to be blended so fine, right? And I paired it with something that she loved, which is grilled cheese.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I know if she dips it in the grilled cheese in the soup, she'll like it because she loves grilled cheese. So you kind of like pair it with something she loves.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah. And I mean, once the grilled cheese was gone for dipping, the soup wasn't really as appealing. But for the fact that she even tried it.
Yeah. And then next time she won't be as hesitant, like once she knows.
Exactly. And the same, and then the same thing with any picky eater. We don't force, like we've learned as parents, that we don't force anything. I may insist sometimes out of frustration, but we know when parents are. Okay? Bribery I've done bribery, but the tried and true is just a reintroduction.
Yeah.
And so I just have it there. Just try, if you want to try, like have it there, have the reintroduction, and eventually, some of the things she's tried was celery, which shockingly she likes.
Wow. Okay.
And so there's a short list of things I know she'll eat, right? She'll eat lettuce as long as it's not like the red leaf. Like it has to be all green,
Okay.
The romaine. She'll eat pineapple. She'll eat apples without the skin.
Okay.
There's like just a texture one. So there's a short list, and I always make sure that I have those items that she will eat.
Yeah.
And anything else blend it in a smoothie.
Yeah, and just keep trying new things. But TikTok, that's a new one. I forgot that that's a way to get them interested because their peers or people their age are trying things. That's
Yeah,
cool.
she tried Chipotle the other day because like she's been seeing like people doing those the whole Chipotle bowls.
Okay.
I mean, it was
Okay.
only rice, meat, and
Right.
lettuce and cheese, but like, hey, I
Yeah.
I will take it.
Take it. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a win. All right, and the one recipe, I don't think I've ever seen these anywhere else, so this must be yours, but the um what's the name of it? The salmon, the what do you call it? The
Firecrackers. Fire-
firecracker salmon. Yeah, that's I think I haven't seen anyone else do that. That's your invention?
It was my invention, and there's a debate about it because it's gone so viral. Everyone
Sure.
has made it and claimed it as theirs. Because
Yeah.
you can't really originate back to the original person, which I'm not huffing and puffing about. But
Yeah.
when the recipe is identical and you change the name, that's frustrating, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I made that when I was high on edibles.
Okay, okay.
So it's like, I know that's mine, you know. I had to include it in the book. I told people, I was like, I had the munchies and in the middle of the night.
Had
And
some salmon in the fridge.
like just grab some leftovers. And, we always have rice paper. We throw everything in rice
Yeah.
paper. So had some leftover salmon and added some avocado to it, some jalapeno and green onion, and wrapped it in a spring roll and fried it. And I was like, wow, this is a really good dumpling, but like, what do I make? What do I call this? I told my sister about it, my sister-in-law, and she's like, oh, that kind of sounds like the firecracker salmon egg rolls that Cheesecake Factory used to have because they
Mm.
have like the salmon avocado thing. I was like, oh, I'll just call it firecracker salmon then. That's where the name came from. It was just a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when people name their dishes firecracker dumplings, I'm like, you guys know that was me, like high on edibles, naming this dish. But then I paired it with my dumpling sauce, which is also in the cookbook, which is a very, very like universal like
Yeah.
dumpling sauce that it goes with. You had the dumpling sauce.
I got to try it. Yeah, you made me a
Yeah.
batch.
It goes with everything. It has like soy
So
sauce.
good,
It has a little bit of black vinegar. It has a little sesame oil.
Mhm.
And then it has a little brown sugar to balance everything out. And then we add green onions and cilantro and the chili oil is on the side if you. But it goes with any Asian dish you want. You want to put it on noodles. You want to dip it in your dumplings. You want to dip it with your egg roll. Like it goes with everything.
So good. Yeah. All right, and I got to ask you the story about your Gotcha Gordon bell pepper sandwich. You want to tell the story behind that sandwich?
Whoever thought there were so many cute stories and funny stories around our food, huh?
Right, right.
This is when I first started like TikTok during COVID, and TikTok was, I tell you, so much fun back then. And not
Yeah.
where it is now is a little different with the shop live and the shopping links and everything. But when back then we were all discovering TikTok and gave us like free reign to experiment as creators and not box ourselves in, I was doing a lot of fun things. And one of the things was I saw Gordon Ramsay was on TikTok and he said, hey, hashtag your videos, Ramsay reacts, and I'm like, when I went so I went to the hashtag Ramsay reacts and it was just a bunch of just him just talking so much crap about all these recipes. So like, what can I do to get his attention? It was just more funny. So it wasn't like serious, even though people thought I was so serious about it. I took 2 bell peppers and, made a sandwich out of it and called it bread. And I put like cream cheese, turkey, lettuce, mustard, everything bagel seasoning, and like close it up and called it a low carb sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Without the bread. And he duetted it. And I was so excited he duetted it. It was so funny because he's like, young lady, that's not a sandwich. That's an idiot sandwich, And it caught on. And I think at the time it was like 50 to 60 million views on his page and like duetted with me. So I was growing like literally like 20,000 followers a day for like a week from that video. Cause it just, people started making it. Like people started making the sandwich. Cause I'm like, actually that sounds kind of good. So, people started making that sandwich. But it caught on so much that like Access Hollywood picked up the story, Entertainment, like every news station picked up the story. Like Gordon is roasting home cooks, and like they used my video as an example. And an insider contacted me for my side of the story. It was just so funny.
Yeah.
But like I had to put it in the cookbook because it was so funny.
Of course, yeah.
But we made different variations from, we had the original, and then we have two other variations of the sandwich. And you know what I'm going to say? It's really good. And it's basically like a handheld salad on the go, right?
There you go, yeah.
It's really good. It's very crunchy, very satisfying. And there's something about cream cheese with everything bagel seasoning and bell peppers. If you just did just that, it's actually really good.
Super clean. Yeah, super fresh. Well, guess what? We are bumping up against the clock a little bit, but we're barely scratching the surface. There's over 100 recipes and tons of pictures. I love it when there's pictures. I know your editor's like, hey, can we not do as many pictures?
It's costly.
It's a little costly, but I love pictures. I almost only cook the ones that there's pictures, so I love having those.
That's what the people say.
But go check out My Healthy Dish on Instagram or YouTube. Go get the book, Healthy My Way, wherever you get books. Bottom line is, if you want healthy recipes, use whole ingredients, use some love, and don't throw too many carbs in there if you're trying to maintain weight, and just do what tastes good, right, Mai?
Yep, tastes good, feel good.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Everyone out there, you know what to do. I'll put Mai's information in the show notes so you can find it there. Everyone knows where to find me. You can find me at Infatuasian Podcast on Instagram or Facebook, or go right to us at infatuasianpodcast@gmail.com. Don't email Mai. She's got 30,000 unread emails in her inbox.
How did you know? I didn't tell you.
You showed me. Yeah, he said, don't email me, DM, because I'm not going to read an email.
It's 35,000 now.
Oh, 35. It's been a week. You got 5,000 more. So, but hey, thanks so much for giving us some of your time. I know you're super busy.
Thank you. That was fun.
Yeah, no, always fun to talk to another Bay Area creator. Maybe we'll bump into you again, another YouTube event. That'd be super fun.
Oh, I'd love to host another one too.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. And everyone out there, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed hearing Mai tell some stories and sharing some recipes. But go get the book so you can get the full story. So everyone out there, until we talk to you again, we hope that you're all happy, healthy, and safe out there. And so on behalf of Mai and myself, take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.